That was my concern. I was so upset. And I didn't get it. I got my banana, but my father forced me to take the luggage and keep it, and he didn't let me eat it. And in the end, he said, come on, come on. He didn't let me get my bananas also. It's his fault.
Yes.
I can't say it because those days you don't offend fathers. Nowadays it's different.
I know.
So we went to railway station, and Amma said she will make him buy some bananas for you. Don't cry. So I kept quiet. In the railway station, as soon as we landed, we took the luggage to the railway station platform. The train already came. Put it in. We have to occupy the place before others take away the luggage space. Everything was done, and when we were sitting in the train had time to move. So the banana vendor was going, fruit vendor. I told mother, come on, tell him to buy. So she told him, Papa, why don't you buy him his banana? Here it's all very expensive. Just 2 bananas, why do you care? So he asked him, what's the price? He said, 6 rupees a dozen. 6 rupees a dozen? I bought it for 2 rupees a dozen, 3 rupees in Moti Bagh, and you are saying this much? That is there. In market we can get it. The railway station, I have to pay the tax, I have to pay the permit and everything. This is that price. He said, nahi chahiye. I looked at my mother. She said, buy some, at least give it to him. He's going to cry to death. So he bought 4 bananas and gave 6 bananas he bought. He gave 2 to my younger brother and 2 to me. He already had his. This was an unforgettable story in my life. Okay, you have another 2. I bought 6. You take 4 and he will take 2, and 2 he finished. I can't eat all the 4 now. I gave 2 to my mother. You keep it. I don't give it to anybody. Don't give it to younger brother. So after that story finished, I went to hometown, Pudukkottai. We had a great time playing in ponds and having a great time. The yoga teacher used to come and make us chant in Sanskrit verses and all that from young age. All that finished, 2 months vacation is done. We come home. Father opens the lock and I run into that room. And I saw, look at the shelf where my banana was. There was nothing. What happened to my banana? I told you we should have come back. See, some robber has taken the banana away. He says, no robber will come to just take your banana. Everything else is intact. Windows are closed. The door I opened. Nothing is gone. Nobody comes for your banana. Where did my banana go? I know I kept it here. He says, I know you kept it there. But when the banana is left there for a long time, it ripens and it rots. First stage is to ripen, and it more ripens, and then it rots. When it rots, insects come out of the banana and they eat up the whole banana and the skin, and they leave the space for some other food or they die. The banana is cleaned by the bacteria inside the banana. Banana has life in it. So whatever we eat, the food has to have life, and the bacteria generate out of it if you keep the fecal matter inside the intestine for a long time. If you timely eliminate it, those transformation doesn't happen. If you leave the fecal matter in the stomach, in the intestine for a long time, it rots. When it rots, worms come out of it. Not 1 or 2 cases, so many cases. In nature cure, that's what we say. Constipation and indigestion are like mother and father for all diseases. So in constipation, when you hold the fecal matter for a longer time, it rots and bacteria come and they give a warning sign to the system. Don't eat food. It creates a fever or coughing or all kinds of symptoms so that we don't get to eat food. The cleaning process is going on. This ease or lack of ease is an indication of life telling us don't eat food. That's all the simple thing. The bacteria proved from the banana theory is that when things rot, bacteria generate out of that not to kill us, just to clean our body of filthy matter and leave us to live healthy life. All the bacteria are our helpful bacteria. No bacteria is an enemy. Kill that bacteria, kill this bacteria. What do? Put the medicines inside the body, and for what happens is, first of all, the good bacteria, so-called good bacteria, get killed first. When there is a calamity in the street, some gundas are coming and doing mischief, and the police comes. First of all, these gundas will run away. Innocent bystanders get caught. Hey, you did the mistake. No, I was just coming here to buy the vegetable. Ah, that's what you say. They take you to the police station, give a good beating. And the bystander, good people get beaten. The bad people run away. So whenever we inject any drug into our body in order to kill the so-called bad bacteria, it first kills the good, so-called good bacteria. So we have to be very careful that the material used in the name of medicine is not food. It's not something which you can digest. It's not something which will keep our body clean. It's not something which will produce health in our body. Any effort to cure a disease should simultaneously improve our health. Ask the question.
Yeah.
That's what we should ask.
Correct.
Does it simultaneously improve our health?
Yeah.
If it doesn't, we should not follow.
Sir, you were talking about this Puraka,
Kumbhaka.
Rechaka, Kumbhaka, and then it should be in a rhythm,
Yeah.
and then you should fall into that. What is the ratio? You were talking about the ratio.
Yeah, the ratio is not counts. It's not how balanced in the sense rhythm. You follow a rhythm, and the rhythm should gradually increase to a longer duration. The longer duration depends upon the capacity of your own capacity to hold the breath. The big difference here is some people tell you to count 8 before inhaling, 10 for holding, then 8 for exhaling, then holding for certain numbers. That's what they say. In our school particularly, we say don't count. Go to your extensive capacity, what you can hold, without stress, without any struggle, without any violence. Breathe in deep but slow. No, don't breathe in fast. Don't make your face also like that. All that face expression spoils the purpose of pranayama. Keep a peaceful face. Play a music, flute music, Hari Prasad Chaurasya or somebody playing soft music, no tabla. That soft music is very good for meditation. I'll go along with it for inhaling, holding the breath, exhaling, holding the breath. If slower you do, better it is. Why? Because a person when he dies, they say he breathed his last. उसकी आखिरी सांस ले लिया. इसका मतलब गिना चुना है. जो हमारे लाइफ में सांसें दी हैं वो गिने चुने हैं. So if you finish the counts early, you die early. That's one concept. It may be true, it may not be true. But if it is true, it is better to breathe slow. And in 1 minute, instead of breathing in 30 units, you breathe 6 units, 7 units, 10 units, like that. So you are also comfortable and you are also giving enough time for the transformation, interchange of gases. For that we have to give time. And I told you about the brain cells opening up files. That we have to give time. Another important thing is, when you hold the breath after exhaling, not only the files are opening up and making it available to you, another important thing is you are living, but you are not breathing. When you are exhaling, your lungs are working. When you are inhaling, lungs are working. When you are holding the breath inside, lungs are working. When you are exhaling, lungs are working. But when you hold the breath after exhaling, lungs are resting. What a great principle that is. Lungs are resting, you are comfortable, you are living, but not breathing. That means you are reducing the number of counts of your breath in your life, and you are getting a, what do you call it? It's called a compound interest. It's called a recurring deposit scheme,
Yeah.
in which in a bank you deposit 1,000 rupees every month, and in the end of the year you don't get 12,000, you get 15,000 rupees back. That's how when we exhale and hold the breath, we are breathing, not breathing, and we are living, and lungs are resting. Lungs every attempt to give rest to the parts of the body, it results in recuperation. Rest gives recuperation is everybody's knowledge. Everybody knows that rest gives recuperation. That's how we learn the values of holding the breath after exhaling. This part is not emphasized by many people. Many people say inhale, hold, exhale, inhale, hold, exhale. That's what they do. But here in Sharma school, they insist that you hold the breath after exhaling comfortably, not forcing yourself. As comfortable as you are, exhale and hold the breath. Do it for a shorter duration in the beginning. Beginning when people start, the duration is hardly 2 seconds. They can't hold it for long. But when practice is done for a year or two, they are able to hold for a long time.
How long it can?
Some people are able to. There is another stage.
Mm.
I have to come to that stage. That is after you do 5 units of inhaling, holding, exhaling, holding. You do 5 units, and then you come to a stage of observing your normal breath. You do the normal breathing and start observing the breath with closed eyes. That's every set of pranayama has to be followed with observation. This observation makes the breathing come lighter and lighter and lighter, and to a stage comes when you are not breathing at all, and you are comfortable. And another wonderful thing that happens is there are no thoughts. Thoughtlessness and breathlessness is called the stage of samadhi. And all the rishis and munis meditate for years for that state of samadhi. They achieve a state of samadhi when they are not breathing, they are just there meditating for a long number of years. Let's not exaggerate and let's not try to do it for a long number of years. We have things to do. But let us try within our limits how much we can do the observation of breath during this pranayama.